Hello, HGC co-creators from beautiful Scottsdale, Arizona. There's beautiful blue sky and magnificent cactuses. What a beautiful place.
Yes, we are so blessed to be here.
Yeah, I'm with Bronwyn today, that is the author of The Food is a Lie, The Truth is Within. So we're going to talk about spiritual weight loss, aren't we?
Yes, we are.
Awesome. So tell us, what do you think is the reason why there is overweight problems here in our society now?
You know what? I think there's a lot of issues going on regarding food. I know for me, I was looking to fill up a hole.
Yeah.
And I thought that it was the food that was going to fill up that hole for me. And I spent my whole life pushing my feelings down and my emotions, trying to stuff it all down with food, because that was all I had. And, you know, from a very young age. So part of it was, for me, I didn't want to feel my feelings. That was scary. It was really scary to feel pain and to feel sadness. So I know that's a big issue for a lot of people.
How much did you weigh then?
I was almost 200 pounds, and I'm 5'3", and I was considered obese. And I had literally dieted my way to obesity. I had tried every diet on the market. I did a liquid fast, and honestly, Lilou, if I could have wired my mouth shut, I would have, because I so badly wanted to be thin and I wanted to fit in.
Yeah.
I thought being thin meant being happy and fitting in. But that's not the case.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until I learned that actually I needed to be happy first, then the weight came off. But there were other things going on as well.
So you had that moment of total connection where you saw something else, huh? Something new?
Yes, I did.
Tell us about that moment.
Well, it was a moment, again, I had spent my whole life struggling with this issue.
Yeah.
I had spent a lot of time in shame and degradation, and I hated my body. I hated my life. There were times I didn't want to go on anymore. I mean, the food had totally taken over my life. I was obsessed. And at 34 years old, I had this experience where this one day I was looking for anything to fill up this hole. And it was just this hunger inside of me that I had felt many, many times before. And I had cleared out everything in my kitchen because I knew, seriously, if I had food in my house, I would eat it. Well, this particular day, I was scrounging through the kitchen, and all I could find were my daughter's toddler cookies. But I didn't care. I grabbed the box and I started eating these toddler cookies. And I had this awareness of, what am I doing? I have sunk this low that I'm eating toddler cookies. And but I continued on and I continued on, and in a split second I had this awareness of what I must look like. And this voice came deep from within inside me. And it's a voice I had never heard before. And it said, go look at yourself in the mirror. Go look at yourself in the mirror. And I'm thinking, what? Are you nuts? Are you crazy? I'm not gonna go look at myself in the mirror, no way. In fact, I started eating more, thinking that I could squish this voice down with food. But the voice persisted, and it said, go look at yourself in the mirror. And so finally, I just went, just anything to shut this voice up, I grabbed the box, went over into another room and looked at myself in the mirror. And I didn't recognize the person looking back at me. And I had tears streaming down my face. And I knew in that moment that I couldn't stop eating. Even if I wanted to, I couldn't stop eating. And with that knowing, I fell down to my knees and I just said, God, help me. Please help me. And I had this feeling, this feeling, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it, but this feeling of love enveloped me. And it was this feeling that came from the inside. And for the first time in my life, I felt satiated. Because it was the power of love, the power of this unconditional love just enveloping me, filled me up in a way food could never do. So I started, that was the beginning of my journey of losing over 50 pounds, and have kept it off now for almost 13 years.
So from that point on, you started embracing yourself in love and looking at yourself in a different way?
Yes, absolutely. And I have to say, when I first started this journey, I didn't know what to make of that voice. I wanted to pursue it because it was feeling good and everything, but I couldn't articulate it. I didn't know what it all meant. In fact, I kept trying to want to get back to that moment as much as I could, but I didn't know how. And in fact, the more I tried to push it, the further away I got. So one day, one of my mentors said to me, he put his hand on my heart and he said to me, "Be still and know that you are God." Be still and know, and be still. And that was like the answer that I had been looking for, because I'd been trying so hard to make it happen. And then he was like, "Be still," which meant to me, take a deep breath and know that God is within me. That the divine love that I was feeling was actually inside me and has been there all along. And so I continued to create a relationship by sitting in stillness with this voice inside of me. And I began to trust it. I began to trust it with what I ate. Like, when it would come to food choices, I would ask, inside me, what is the highest and best for me right now? What are some good choices I could be making? And then also I heard very clearly voices and direction on how I was to start moving my body. I mean, there were days that I'd be sitting on the couch and I didn't want to go, but I'd hear, "Go put on your tennis shoes, go put on your socks." And at the time I had a 3-year-old, a toddler. And so I swooped her up and put her in the baby carriage, and we went out, and I couldn't even walk down the street the first time. But little by little, just by me trusting this voice and getting to know this voice and knowing that this voice was really good and God, and it was leading me towards something so beautiful, then I started just releasing the weight. And it became very natural. It was very organic. It was just very from me. As opposed to when I was on diets, all those years, those decades of being on diets, that was something from the outside world. It was something that I thought I should be doing because that's what the doctor said, or that's what, so-and-so said, or the latest book, or the latest, and it was never centered from within me. It was something imposed on me, that I imposed on myself, actually. So it wasn't until I really began to come from the inside, the inner way, that I began to start losing the weight permanently, as opposed to just maybe losing some weight and then gaining it all back plus some.
Would you say that we have a problem in our society with weight because there's this spiritual, not privation, but there is a really deep yearning that we really, for something bigger that we're not giving ourselves, and that's why our society is overcompensating with food?
I would say absolutely, and I loved how you put that inner yearning. That's the way it was for me. It was an inner hungering. It was hungering for love. I was hungering for security, and I was hungering for comfort. And I didn't know how to get it other than I thought food. I thought that feeling in here of all the different emotions that I was having that was coming from here meant I was hungry. But the problem was every emotion that I was having was being stored in here, and I was eating all the time and never ever feeling satiated. So yes, absolutely, I believe that we were put here on this earth to know and discover what true love is, authentic, divine love. And where we go through life hungering for that. And it's such a beautiful thing when we do stop and quiet our minds and tap into that, because everything, no matter what it is you're hungering for, whether it is the love or the comfort, all of that is calmed down and satiated and filled up. In a way, all those exterior things, whether it's shopping, whether it's drugs, alcohol, sex, whatever it may be, it's calmed down enough so that you can start truly listening to your inner voice.
And walking with peace and gratitude about life, and starting to have a new relationship to
very
God
much
and
so.
the divine.
Very much so. In fact, this place where we're at right now holds a very special meaning for me, because there were mornings I would be out here at like 5 o'clock in the morning. No one else was here, and I would spend just very, very beautiful time with nature and with God, and walk these trails, and very much so feeling very much a part of life again. I mean, I was dying.
Yeah, you were dissociating yourself from life.
I had disassociated myself from my body. I mean, my head, it was as if my head was on a different person, because my head kept telling me the worldly things, but my heart was yearning for something more. My heart knew that the worldly things were not going to fill it up and to satisfy it. And so it was so nice when, tapping into that and beginning to trust that. And then, of course, filling myself up with nature and being here in beautiful Scottsdale. I mean, it's just, it's a really lovely place that's very healing, and, I love it.
So is there some spiritual practice that you recommend to start connecting again?
I think it really depends upon the person. There are many different ways. I do have a ritual that I do, but it has changed a lot through the years. I mean, it's been 13 years, so I started off in quiet meditation, and I still do that today, but it's taken different forms. I may meditate as I'm out hiking. I may meditate as I'm, reading something, or or in my yoga class. Very much so, I connect to my mind, body, and spirit. What I also have done that has been very, very special to me is I have a special place in my home where I have set up an altar, and it's my place that I come no matter what's happening throughout my day, no matter who I've talked to, no matter whether things have gone good or bad or anything. A place that I can come and I just feel so safe, and I have just all the beautiful things that I have chosen that mean something to me up on the altar, and they represent visual forms of God through me, and how I would interpret it. So whether it's a beautiful picture of landscape, or my totem animals or something, I have little replicas of everything out there and sitting in front of me to just connect me every day, reminding me that God is present in my life, that love is present, that I'm here, that I'm living life to my fullest. Because as I told you, I mean, there were so many years, Lilou, that I honestly didn't want to go on anymore. I just didn't think that...
it was too much suffering.
I was in so much pain and suffering over the obsession that I had in trying to fill up this hole. And the only way I knew, and it started from very young, was to do it with food. So food became my obsession. And I was compulsive. I was compulsive from the moment I woke up to the moment I went to bed. My mind did not stop on what I was going to eat, how much I was going to eat, what foods, and how I was going to get it. And one thing about a compulsive overeater like I was is that most people eat, they get full, and they stop eating. Well, for a compulsive overeater, when they eat and the compulsion is triggered, they will actually want to eat more no matter how full they are. We will continue eating more and more and more till we're sick, till we just, many times I would just lay down in the bed in a coma, a sugar coma. So that became my life, and what a small life that was. It was like being in prison in a very, very small box. And so it became scary to go out. It became scary for me to do anything new. I had to keep everything very, very safe and small. I played small for so many years. And then when I started incorporating a whole new outlook and a whole new way, I've just really worked on getting out there and experiencing life, whatever that may mean. Even just sitting here in this beautiful, cool cactus garden.
Yeah, I love the way too you put this book out and how you got endorsement from the biggest, the Deepak Chopra and Choquette and all that. You had quite a lot of energy and passion for getting it out.
Yes,
and you self-published it, and it had awards.
Yes, it won Outstanding Book of the Year award for most life-changing, and it's been endorsed by, as you said, Deepak Chopra, Wayne Dyer, Marianne Williamson, Alan Cohen, Neil Donald Walsh, all my idols, all the people who have helped me so much, all my mentors, I sought them out because they helped me transform my life. So when I met them and I got to share with them my experience and how I went from obesity to living a healthy, joyous, free
Juicy life.
A juicy life, yes. I got to really relate to them and connect with them and thank them. Most importantly, thank them for their work and what they have done. And you brought up something just so beautifully about the gratitude. I mean, it's all about the gratitude. Feeling so grateful for where I was even 13 years ago when I first started this. Being grateful for my body, even though I was obese at the time. Really being grateful for it. Being grateful for the fact I had legs that I could walk and arms and eyes and I began to love myself and love my body because I had hated it for so many years.
And you were saying you started focusing on your eyes, weren't you? Like the feature that you could relate to and connect with.
Yes, because for so long, as I said, I hated my body. Every time I'd pass a mirror, I'd be like, ew, and I'd cringe and I'd pick out all the places that I hated. And I thought, this isn't moving me forward. This is not healthy and making me happy because it would only bring me depression. And so I said, you know what? I'm going to choose one thing that I can say that I like about myself. And it was really, really hard. But I said, finally I came up with, I like my eyes. So then from that point on, every time I passed the mirror, instead of looking at my whole body, all I did was look into my eyes. And over time of just looking into my eyes and then starting going deeper into my eyes and knowing that my eyes were the window to my soul and starting to connect with that, I really began to love my eyes. And then that opened me up to what else can I maybe love about myself? So it just started this whole love affair with myself. And through that started gaining the self-esteem and self-confidence that had been missing all those years because my addiction, my obsession had just stripped me of it. Because my addiction and my obsession was telling me, you're no good, you're never gonna have any friends, you're never gonna have a partner, you're never gonna have any kids, you're never gonna have a life. So I never aspired to have any of that because I just thought, why? I gave up. I really, really had given up.
Yeah, it's important, the gratitude on finding gratitude for something, because sometimes we say, oh, there's no way I can be grateful. But finding that one thing and then amplifying it and working from there, we can all find that thing.
Yes, exactly. And that reminds me of back 13 years ago when I was asked, what are you grateful for? And that question shocked me because I was like, what? What are you talking about? There's nothing to be grateful for in my life. Are you kidding me? I've got this. I'm, all the negative was just so right there in front of my face. And my friend, a mentor of mine, said, Bronwyn, I want you to think about it. And I'm gonna talk to you tomorrow. I'm gonna give you 24 hours to think about it. Because I was so blinded, I could not think of one thing to be grateful for. That's how sick I was. I was so ill and in my negativity. And so over the 24 hours, I thought about it. And I said, well, I'm grateful that I do have a roof over my head. And I'm grateful, I was starting to loosen up. I started getting the whole idea of gratitude. I'm grateful that I had, a body. And so gratitude did start flowing, but it was so hard. Very, very hard at the beginning.
Well, thank you so much for this beautiful moment.
Thank you,
of
Lilou.
gratitude here in beautiful Scottsdale, Arizona.
Thank you.
Very juicy conversation. This is important to take care of our body and to make it work ultimately so that we can really, I think, live our life purpose. Before that, it's hard for it to be present in there.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Once you clear all that away, now I'm asking the question, what is my life's purpose and my life's passion? And for many years, it has been to help others who are struggling with this issue. And I'm continuing that and explore and loving that and finding out, guess what? I can even do more than that.
And there's new layers that appear.
Exactly.
Beautiful.
So it is a beautiful life, and I'm so glad I'm here to share it with you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, and thank you for welcoming the Juicy Tour in your home.
Thank you.
That is very awesome of you.
My pleasure. What an honor for me.
Thank you. Much love, my beautiful co-creators from Arizona. Bye.